Welcome to the Crossroad. This is where real people meet with real issues, encounter real issues, and get real solutions to their life. We thank God for this wonderful day. Now, today I've got a very interesting topic for us to discuss, and that topic is dealing with success in life. What is it that successful people actually do? And I have looked at the life of quite a number of successful people, and it's an amazing 7 things that they are passionate about. And I thought it would be nice that we actually share these beautiful principles that can give you an opportunity to grow from the level where you are to the next. It is said that successful people are disciplined in certain things. So today our talk will be the 7 principles that actually successful people use to grow in their successes. And then the second one are just some beautiful statements. I call them faith statements, or I call them success statements, that I will be borrowing from people who have been talking to others about issues pertaining to life. Now, let's just look at them pretty fast, because today at the crossroad where real people encounter real challenges and come out better living their real life. Now, the first one is that you must be passionate about whatever it is you're going to do. So passion is key. You see, this is what drives you. This is what makes you different. This is what makes you unique in your life. If you could be a professional, but if you're not passionate about it, you'll never grow in your profession. You could be trained, you've got what it takes to do the job, but until there is an inside drive from within that pushes you to go, that is why you'd find that one medical doctor, they are trained in the same place, but 5 years, 10 years down the line, one owns a clinic, the other one is still a GP. One owns a hospital, the other one is still a GP. It basically means one put a passion into it, the other one put the papers onto it. You could be an engineer, one is owning his own business, you are still under employment. We are saying that passion is key to driving you to the next level. So without it, your papers are good but not good enough. Number 2 is creativity. You must think out of the box. In fact, I tell people, stop thinking about the box, let the box go. Fly like a butterfly. Just let it go and keep flying. And every time I talk about this, when I talk about leadership and I talk about leaving the butterfly, and I mean leaving the box and flying like a butterfly, taking the risk of doing it. You must be creative. Creativity means you ask yourself, how can I do the same thing differently? How can I touch people's lives differently? Yes, I can use the same method, but touch lives differently. You know, I've had the experience of being a parent, and one of my pediatricians, lovely guy, was a different from the doctors I know. When the children get into his hospital, suddenly he just starts talking with them and smiling, and you see the children happy. Suddenly you're wondering, this child was wheezing, almost dying, but suddenly he's so different. I mean, the child is so happy playing around. So never go to his hospital when you are in a hurry. No, because you will not live in a hurry, because he'll take time. 30 minutes playing with the child before telling you, I think this is what's the story? Where is the child coming from? Just for them, it is the passion that was in it, but about being creative. That creativity makes the difference. You must think, how can you do the same thing differently? Everybody could be selling mandazis. The question is, how do you make your mandazis better? What makes your mandazis something someone would want to say, I think there's something inside that mandazi. I think the way it is served, the way it's presented, that makes the difference. Creativity. Out of the box. Let the box go, burn it, throw it away, and fly like a butterfly. But for you to fly like a butterfly, you must go through a transformosis, whatever that means. You must be transformed. You must go through a metamorphosis. So that's why I talked about transformosis, which basically means you transform and you metamorphosize, which basically means go through a total change in the way you think, the way you behave, the way you do things, so that people can look at you and say, hey, this guy is different. Principle number 3 is discipline. You see, a lot of people want to succeed in life, but they're not willing to be disciplined. You know, the Bible says no one puts his hand to the plow and looks back. Now, if you want to make it to the end of the plowing line, you can't afford to look back, because the animals are going to pull you back. They're going to pull you and you're going to lose the plow. So put your hand onto the plow, be disciplined, be so disciplined, people will be wondering. Now, that means you create a habit of doing certain things in a particular way, so that you are always, if you say I wake up at 5 o'clock every day, I wake up at 5 o'clock, you make it a habit, make it a routine. And the more you do that, the more people begin to wonder, why is it that you're always successful? Because you do things in a disciplined way. And the discipline means you wake up. If it is waking up early, wake up early and on time. If it's, you realize that you are a late sleeper, I don't encourage that, but I know there are those of us who are late sleepers. The question is, what are you busy doing until late in the night? So the discipline basically is, be disciplined in what you do. If it is in spending money, be disciplined the way you spend money. If it is writing notes, be disciplined the way you write notes. If it is creating new ideas, be disciplined continuously, consistently. People like Alfred Nobel is famous because of the Nobel Prize, but the reason he actually made so much money is because he consistently was inventing new things. And the more new things he did, the more wealth he created. Now, most of us think that Bill Gates became a billionaire simply because he had Microsoft. No, it is not just the Microsoft. He has stepped down as the chair of Microsoft as a corporation and as a company. But guess what? He's still the director of creativity. He's the director. He is interested in where creativity is taking place, where the think tank is, because that is where the money is. No, the software of Microsoft and all those things, the computers, those ones anybody and everybody can do. But do you know where the real thing is? It is in the discipline of consistently making new apps and making them available. And if someone has made one that he likes, he buys it over and says, bring it over here, I want to use it in my company. He's willing to spend a few more billions to buy something from you that he knows if he doesn't have it, someone else gets it, that guy is going to benefit. So you can also be able to say, no, I want to be disciplined. Discipline in the way I do things, discipline in the way I relate with people, discipline in the way I do my homework, discipline in the way I do my assignment, discipline in the way I live my life. Number 4 is consistency. Now, a lot of people fail because of this. You could be a professional, you could be great, but you're not consistent in the way you do. You did it yesterday, you got 10%. Today, you've gotten 15%. We expect 20% tomorrow. In other words, if you're consistently going up, keep going. Not that today you are 20, tomorrow you are 10, and the next time you are 80, and then the next one you are 14. No, that is not consistent. Unless your consistency is going up and down, then you are unpredictable. But if you're consistent, people can almost be able to say, we expected you to go this way and go this way and go this way. So that when there is a change, people will say, that's not you, because we know your pattern. We know the way you do things. Paul writes and says, you know my lifestyle, you know my faith, you know my doctrine, you know my path, you know what it is. In other words, you can predict what to expect from me. As a result of that, people begin to honor you because you're consistent. You're always doing the same thing, and they can trust that you will do it again. That is important. Consistency. Do it again and prove it can be done, and do it again. Then people will be able to trust you because you're predictable. You can do it. Now, if you are today you are excellent, tomorrow they don't know where you are, they'll be like, we are not so sure when we will be engaging that person. He will be at his lowest or at his best. So we don't trust and don't think that is okay. Now, number 5 is your network. Now, we live in the digital age where we're talking about Internet of Things. It is the networking of people that makes the difference. It is everybody that you network with. There are some of us here who are so good, they are permanently on the phone, but they're not using the network to get and achieve certain things. They use it. Well, I know some of you like being on Facebook, but there are people who make money by being on Facebook. What do? They are social media managers, and they are managing people's platforms so that people like you who know nothing about how to generate income from Facebook will spend time poking people and liking people and thinking that is adding value to your life. The truth is, it's not doing so much. The thing is, you're making someone else's life busy. In other words, you are pushing the agenda of somebody else. So while we're talking about successful people, you will be their success story of someone who consistently followed them. That's why every time you hear people in the media saying, please follow me up, subscribe. In other words, you don't have anything else to do for yourself, so please subscribe. No, I am asking you that use the network you've got to achieve the goal God has set for you to do. Because if you fail to do that, you're going to be in trouble. And the reason why you're going to be in trouble is because you'll be wondering why others moved. Some of the guys you were with in high school, you used to beat them. Maybe that's why this guy writes about, that the C student owns the company, the A student works for him. We need to ask ourselves, how are you using your network? Now, this is what is said about very well-off families. They don't take their children to school to pass exams. No, they take their children to school to learn the networking strategy. When you go there, you will meet people who are important, whose parents are important, people who know what it is to do 1, 2, 3. I'll give you a simple illustration. This country today, that is the Republic of Kenya, is run by a team of people who are in the same school. Who are in the same school. From the president. It's like a club from St. Mary's. They were together. They know each other. So if I know you, I can entrust you to be my cabinet secretary. If I trust you, some of those guys have no idea the departments they are being told to run. But because I know the person, whatever I give them, they will be able to do what to run it. Why? I got you when I needed you. The networking is key for each and every one of us. Now, some of us, you must learn to take advantage of your people. Know people. When you know them, keep their contacts. Let them know you know them. Talk with them. I've had the privilege of being able to meet big people in this country and outside the country. I've had the privilege of meeting royalty. And you know what? You want them to remember you. You want them to remember you. So don't do something outrageous. Do something exciting. They'll be able to say, yes, I remember you. You're the one who did this. Yes. So that then becomes your key to success. Your network. The people you are, because you can have products you want to sell, but if you are not networking with the right people, trust you me, nobody will buy your product. Nobody will buy your product. Let me give you a simple illustration. Safaricom is the largest telephone company in this country. Now, whenever the others are trying to advertise, they relate with Safaricom. We are not those guys. We are not. In other words, you're telling people there is another guy somewhere else. Why don't you consider on who you are? Why don't you consider on who you are? So that when we identify with you, we belong. Someone will not say, no, I have this, but I also have this. Why? Because I use this because they're cheap, but I use this because, everybody has the other one. So technically you ask yourself, do I really need this other one, which is cheap? I would rather have the one everybody's got. Because they know their networking strategy, they can be reached by anybody. So they take advantage. Know people around you and use that for the good. Know the people that you can reach and try and reach them for good influence. Number 6 is impact. What's the impact of your knowledge? What's the impact of your product? What is the impact of your life? You see, it's like leaving a legacy. When you want to talk about a legacy, the question is, a lot of people misdefine what legacy is. Some people say legacy is what you did. No. Legacy is not what you did. Legacy is what people choose to remember about what you did. Let me say that again. What people choose to remember. In this country, when I ask you, what do you remember President Kibaki with? The guy was president, was in politics for 50 years. What do you remember? A lot of people will say, we remember with the Thika Highway. Thika Super Highway is 45 kilometers. Or people will talk about free primary education. Free primary education, we're still paying for it. The question is, do you remember the president with 2 things? People will remember the president's wife. The thing is, it is what we choose to remember about what you did. You could have done 10,000 things. The guy did 10,000 things. Our economy grew the best during his period. But you know what? You will choose to remember that based on how it touched you, how it impacted you. Okay, now most of us remember President Moi because some of you guys drank Nyayo milk, so you will remember the songs that were sung during Moi's time. You remember the Nyayo milk. You will remember, the Nyayo T-zone. You remember the Nyayo wards. You remember the Nyayo buses. The thing is this: if you used them, they were useful to you. That is called impact. But it is a legacy. Legacy. People will choose to remember things about you, not everything, because not everything you've done will touch people's lives or will impact them positively in a beautiful way. So the question is, what is it that you're going to do that will touch people in a way that will leave them saying, I want to remember this guy? The problem we have, most of us, is this. Most of us want to be remembered for the negative things. Now, the brain has a very interesting way of doing things. We remember the bad news. We remember the negative things more than we remember the good things. We remember how bad things were instead of remembering how great things were. The problem with the African mindset is this. We have more memories of the good old days. We don't see the future. When the Western philosophy and worldview talks about the future is bright, as we're talking about the behind was great. The past was great. It was great. So we can't project. We can't plan. Let me give you a simple illustration. Look at some of the wealthiest people on this continent. Look at some of the wealthiest people in this country. Now, the first generation, let me just mention that in Africa, wealth do not survive 2 generations. Show me a family that it has survived 2 generations. You cannot count them in all your 10 fingers. You know why? Because we do not institutionalize. everything we've got. We don't institutionalize wealth. We don't institutionalize property. We don't institutionalize even government systems. No. Today we would want a politician who gets things done. When he's left, the next guy messes them up because we did not institutionalize. Look at some of the richest families. Immediately the patriarch goes, the children fight the matriarch, and when the matriarch goes, then they fight each other until everything is wiped out. And you're wondering, what happened? Where were they when the father was alive? No, they were watching like hawks, waiting to grab it. The thing is, they did not get to be part of the institution. In other words, they were not part of the legacy. They were not part of the impact. They were not part. It did not impact on them to set in place systems. I know families who even leave money in trusts, leave property and in trust. They have a foundation. The problem is, on the day his will is read, they challenge it. The children, the very children, challenge it. I know sons of somebody who even wanted to kill their mother just to do what? To make sure that they get the wealth. Imagine your own mother to get the wealth your father has left behind, and you are a professional, you're working, you live a life, and you've got everything you needed until dad dies, and then now it tells you there's a problem. So we need to ask ourselves, how do we institutionalize? How do we create an impact that goes beyond us, beyond our generation? I pray and I believe that those of you who listen to Sandstone and listen to Crossroad, you always will be blessed. And years when I know I will expire one day, and when I'm gone, you'll be able to say, I remember him because of this sermon. I remember him because of this message he gave to us. And today I pray you'll be able to remember what I'm talking about as the principles to success. Number 7 is prayer. You see, you might tell me, but John Mark, how does prayer work? You know, in life, there are moments when things get very thick and people get very low. You need to talk to someone greater than you are. You know, others will consult others will look for their networks, others will talk to their fathers, others will talk to their dead parents. But I give you the most successful story is you can talk to their creator, the maker. He knew you are here for a season such as this. He knows what you're going through. You can tell him, hey dad, I'm struggling with this. Can you come through for me? Yes, he will. He will never let you down. You know why? Because he knows what it means to walk with people through. He's walked with generations before you, and he will walk with you throughout your generation. You know why that is important? Because you can trust him. And he says, trust me. Call on him. Doesn't matter how bad things are, you can trust him. So those 7 principles are key. I mean, there are many principles all over the place. People will tell you a lot of stuff, but I know you can read all the books you want to read. But these ones are from me. So I thought it's worth sharing with you, that you can actually ask yourself, what is it that you can do? If you try and look at it, you're passionate about what it is you do. You're very creative. You think out of the box. You are disciplined in what it is that you do. You're consistent in the way you're doing things. You use your network very right. You are thinking of legacy beyond you, the impact in the community. And then finally, you give God the opportunity to walk with you. You put God first at the center of this life and the struggles that are real in our lives. So then we can then come in to talk about what I called success statements. They are borrowed from people. Some of the people who said some of these things I do not know, but the truth is this: some I thought they were beautiful and it's worth saying. Some of them are from one friend of mine I know who I've read his books and I love reading his books. I call him a friend. Not that we've met. I've met him in person. Yes, I've met him in person. But the joy has always been that when I read some of his materials, they are great. So this is the first thing I will say as a success statement. It says, vision without strategy is a dream. Vision without strategy. You can have a vision, but if you don't have a strategy, it's a dream. You're just dreaming, and it's a good thing to dream. Yes, the Bible talks about old men will have dreams, so you just dreaming. The question is, a dream on its own Doesn't help anybody else. It gives you good ideas. But then this is the second thing. Strategy without a vision is just doing routine. In other words, if you don't have a place you want to go and to become, you're just doing routine. It's routine. Just do routine stuff. Routine stuff. So strategy without a vision is just being routine. And about routine? Routine basically means doing the same thing over and over again. In fact, someone said that it is actually foolishness. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. If you have a vision, then you will move beyond. Okay? So it says that a vision until it is written down is just wishful thinking. Vision until it's written down is just wishful thinking. Which means you need to write down your vision. Dream it, yes, dream it. When you finish dreaming it, wake up and then put it down in writing. And then develop a strategy for it. Because if you don't develop a strategy for it, there is no success that will come your way. Because you'll not be passionate. There'll be no strategy to implement. There'll be no passion to drive you. Okay? Yes, so make sure it is not wishful thinking. Okay? Yes. All right. Now, then when you get into strategy until it touches the people's life, it's just being selfish. Whatever it is you want to do. Your success, your vision, your dream, until it touches people's lives, it's being selfish. Because there are people who think it's just me about me, but myself, my I, self and I. All you want to do is just for me, for me, for me, for me, for me, for me. No, the truth is this. If it is not touching people's lives, if it is not solving problems in the community, if it's not giving people a reason to celebrate what you have done, it is called being selfish. And being selfish doesn't help. Number 5. They say leaders are readers, and I agree. You must add some meat into the brain. You must think out of it. The question is, do you learn from what you read? Or are you reading because you want to finish? You are in a readers club or a reading club and a book club, and you just enjoy reading through and scanning through. Now, there are some of you who say, I'm so busy, I don't even have time to read the newspaper. How do you live in a world without knowing what's happening around you? And then you think you're great. No, you need to be updated in what's current. Read about new ideas, new strategies, new thoughts that are coming through. And in this day and age, most of our young people hate to read, but they are like updating their status. You see, the question is, when you finish updating, then has it added any knowledge into your head? Has it made you sharper, smarter? What exactly has I like do to you? Or you're making someone else happy, and then when they're happy, are you happy? This, Simon Sinek, be the last to speak for a leader. In other words, learn to listen, pay attention. Listen to what different opinions. Evaluate their ideas so that when you speak, they will know you've thought through and you've listened to everybody. Then kind of like you summarize it. That makes you a great person. People respect you. People know. He will listen to each and every one of us, and then we'll be the last. I'm a lastborn, and a lastborn, the problem sometimes is, from the African context, lastborns are supposed to be seen and not heard. And so, and my father was a very interesting guy. We would have a family meeting, and I would sit there, and everybody would talk. And because I know where my pecking order puts me at the bottom of the ladder, everybody talks, and then he asks John Mark, "What do you think?" And then when he finishes, he said, "I think I agree with John Mark." And he's like, "Really? I mean, after all of us have talked, you should have just asked him." I said, "No, but I needed to hear what everybody's saying." Then I realized that then my brothers and sisters began to respect me because they said, "Hey, Dad listens to him." They wouldn't listen to me, but their dad listens to him. So as a result of their dad listening to me, they began to say, "Oh, he has got something to say," which is important for a leader. For me, then, I feel appreciated by my father that he listens to me and sometimes will side with me. The point I'm trying to drive home is this: leaders at the last to speak. You don't give your opinion before you even ask people what they think. Because if all of them disagree with you, you will not look nice. Yeah, I didn't want to use the word stupid, but then people will be like, that idea won't go far. So allow people to speak and be the last. Point number 7. Okay? Whatever it is you want to do in life, when you start to do it so well, everybody will look and say, "I wish it was me who was doing it. I would be proud of what's been done." In other words, make people own it and say, "I would want to do that too." One of the guys I love listening to is Miles Monroe, and some of the quotes I mentioned here come from him. And every time I listen to Miles Monroe teach or even preach on a particular topic, I always say, God, that was deep. That was real. I wish I could do that. I wish I could just speak like he did. I wish, and it's like, that man touches me deep. He's deep. And that's important for us, that we learn to do something. Be passionate about what it is you're doing. Let people see. They just know when you start talking, they know, yes, that's him. And that's my prayer for you. That at the crossroad, we can sharpen one another and work together. At the crossroad, we can be able to meet at our different trajectories and say, yes, we can work together. Yes, I might step on your toe. You can step on mine. You can correct me, rebuke me, inspire me. But at the end of the day, we all go together, because it is at the crossroad where we all meet and work together. And that is what I'm wishing you. May God bless you. Have a lovely day. Have a lovely weekend, and have a lovely evening. God bless and have a lovely day. Thank you.